friends. And I got a special ride this week, and it's waiting up ahead just for you. It's right this way at the Dim Carnival.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dim Carnival. This is Bill.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Ryan.
And we're just three shaggy scrubs talking about the Insane Clown Posse and their catalog. They're very deep and thick and meaty and beefy and girthy catalog of music, and we're going through it chronologically. And at this point, we're up to what is the third and final Sideshow album, EP, which came out between albums. For their first few albums, they put out a Sideshow EP between each one. Then they stopped, and they stopped forever. But this is the last one. It's Tunnel of Love. The version that you can find on Spotify and most places and record stores is the 8-track EP, which is the one that we're talking about. There is a triple X version of the EP that has an additional track on it, and it's if you don't mind a hard penis, the cover is really hilarious for the triple X version. I hope you guys have both looked up the triple X cover since last we spoke.
I'm looking at it right now.
Hell yeah. Ryan, what I'm going to want you to do when this episode comes out is I want you to try and find a bigger or higher quality version of the triple X cover, and I want you to just post Shaggy's face from that cover.
Okay.
Because it's really spectacular.
Yeah.
But triple X version is Shaggy grinning and two, I assume, porn stars like back to back, and one of the porn stars is holding a gigantic penis, and they've pasted Shaggy's face over what I assume is a porn star. I mean, it could just be Shaggy, but I kind of doubt it.
No, it's just a VHS cover of a real pornographic film. Real pornographic film.
If you have read or listened to ICP's book Behind the Paint, which I very, very much recommend, and maybe at some point we'll just talk in depth about the book itself, because there's certainly a lot to dive in and unpack from the book. But if you listen to that, there's a very, very interesting story behind how this EP came to be. I don't know if you remember that, Ryan.
I don't remember, man. I listened to it all so fast, I don't think I absorbed anything.
You were just laughing. And so ICP, and this is also something that we didn't really talk about when we were talking about Riddlebox, so we'll go ahead and cover it here. Riddlebox was the first album that ICP put out. It was the first label release that ICP had. It was the first time they were on a major label. It was the first time they were doing anything other than self-produced music, and that was Riddlebox. And before Riddlebox came out, they were supposed to they got signed to Jive, and Jive wanted them to at first put out an EP instead of Riddlebox, and ICP was like, no, it's time for the next Joker's card. We want to put the next Joker's card out. And Jive, which at the time was massive, and they had Backstreet Boys on there. They had just a ton of super mainstream pop artists. And Jive said, no, we're doing an EP. So they made this plan to do the Joker's Gallery EP. And then when they had laid down a couple of tracks for the Joker's Gallery, then Jive came back and said, all right, we changed our mind. You guys get to do the full album. And so there's a version out there of the intro track and the first track off of Riddlebox, the Riddlebox, the joke's on you. There's a version of that song where it's almost the same song, but they're saying Joker's Gallery instead of Riddlebox. And there's a different intro where it's the same, like, oh shit, a car coming! And there's a car crash. But instead of going to the room where you're supposed to turn the crank for the riddle box, the ringmaster greets the guy and he's like, "How you doing, sir? Welcome to being dead," or whatever. And it's like the same like amazing performance from Violet J, where she's like, "Oh, I'm not dead. What's going on?" And the guy's like, "Here's your tickets to the Joker's Gallery." And like that's how the Joker's Gallery started. So there's tracks out there where you could hear that. So they put out Riddlebox on Jive, and they put the album out, and it was selling great in Detroit, but then they realized like Jive and no one was promoting it anywhere outside of Detroit. So Alex Abyss, their manager, threw a dart at a map, and it landed on Dallas.
Which, like, obviously, if you throw a dart at a map, like, you're aiming for the center, you don't know how hard to throw it, it drops straight down and hits Dallas.
Right. You know, just pure luck. 10 times out of 10, you'll hit Dallas.
Right.
So they hit Dallas, and they put together, it was either 2 or 3 vans that they had, like, shrink-wrapped with the Riddlebox art. And they went down there and they spent like months, like 6 months or something, like just like in Dallas, just like hanging out outside of every high school, giving out samplers, going to every club in Deep Ellum, passing out flyers, passing out samplers, passing out tapes, doing in-stores, doing shows everywhere they could. And they just hit Dallas, and they just were there, and they saw, oh, our sales just jump up week after week after week that we're in Dallas. And so like they eventually got it within a few months. They got it so that there were as many sales in Dallas as there were in Michigan, which was the only place that Riddlebox was selling before they went to Dallas. And Jive called them up, because Jive at that point, like by the time they got done at Dallas, they were like, "Oh, Jive's going to drop us. Like, Jive's not interested in us anymore because we're not selling," and they thought they could just sign us and not do any work and sell us. And then once Jive was like, "Oh, these guys are just spending all their own money to promote the album and it's paying off and they're selling a bunch of albums for us," then Jive was like, "Oh, we're going to keep you guys on for another album." And they fought tooth and nail, and they had to like pay some money, but they eventually got out of the Jive contract. And Hollywood Records wanted to sign them at the same time. So like Hollywood like bought out or was going to sign them once they left Jive or whatever. But the end of this very long story that I'm telling is that between when their contract with Jive ended and when their contract with Hollywood Records started, and there was a like fully down juggalo, named, I think, Julian, who was the A&R guy who was really super, super, super pushing for them to get to Hollywood Records. He's the reason they were on Hollywood Records. There ended up, Alex figured out that, hey, there's going to be 2 days between your 2 contracts. There's going to be 2 days where you're not signed to anyone. Your Jive contract's going to end. There's going to be 2 days, and then your contract with Hollywood starts. So on those 2 days, one of those days, they released the Tunnel of Love EP.
Oh.
So they figured it out, and like the A&R guy from Hollywood Records was like, "You crafty motherfuckers, you got a free album on your own, like that isn't beholden to anyone, or you know, you don't have to pay anyone else royalties off of this ever." But so they finagled Tunnel of Love out of between their Jive contract and their Hollywood contract, and we'll of course talk about the Hollywood contract when we start talking about Great Milenko, because that's why most people know who Insane Clown Posse is. So, yeah, that's it. Tunnel of Love. And they got to put out an album with a big, hard dick on the cover. So good for them.
So that was wonderful, Bill.
Thanks. So the crazy thing to me about this EP is I listened to this EP, and when I was going to listen to it, I was like, okay, I know Cotton Candy and I know Super Balls because they were on Big Money Hustlers, or like in the background of Big Money Hustlers. I at least know like the hooks to them.
Right.
But then I started listening to the EP and I was like, I know this fucking EP front to back. I have absolutely no idea how, but I think like I have this crazy memory of listening to this EP in my car when I was living in Oakland in the year 2000. So I must have picked up this EP at some point or gotten like a burned copy of it at some point. But then like I can't find it anywhere in my physical CDs. But then I looked on my old PC, and my PC laptop, and it's on my iTunes library. So like I know this EP, and I had no idea that I knew it, but like I just do.
That's super weird, man.
Yeah. Did you guys like end up knowing more songs off of this than you thought?
Well, I just familiar with the EP because I used to like to listen to it. So,
well, there you go.
And I didn't forget that I had listened to it.
Well, but like, so we'll get to it next week. But like the hidden track with the phone number stuff, like I knew like every bit on that. Like, it was crazy to me that I like didn't remember Tunnel of Love like being so well known to me. So
I don't know any of these fucking songs, man.
Hell yeah.
These are all new to me. I mean,
Nice.
I knew of or had heard Cotton Candy and Super Balls before, through different means, but none of these other songs have I ever heard.
So I guess let's start with the intro.
Okay. Yeah. There's an intro to this record.
Yeah, it starts. It's not one of their best.
I feel like
It can't all be winners, guys.
it's not great. It's kind of creepy.
Uh-huh.
It's not really, I assume that it's trying to set the mood. I feel like there's a really cool flute sound, whatever the music is. It's like a pan flute or something. It's great. And then there's some like backwards things. I tried to look up what's saying there, but I wasn't able to. I mean, I didn't look that hard.
You didn't actually take the clip and then reverse it.
Oh no, I wasn't going to go that far. It would take too much effort.
I got a job. I got shit to do.
I got kids.
Mm-hmm.
What I liked about it is, well, how it crosses over into Cotton Candy and how it ends with him like coughing and then laughing. And I thought that was great. And I think that's, I always interpreted it as it being like fake sexy. Like they're like, oh, we're going to do this sexy album. But like, it's still it's still typical ICP. So like, it's hard. They say, some pretty crazy stuff. So I always interpreted that they were faking it, purposely sounding creepy, but trying to act like they're trying to be sexy at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
and and obviously it's a joke because then it ends with them laughing, and they kept it in.
Right. Yeah, like one thing that's like pretty much consistent on like throughout all of their music, and like when you listen to Violent J talk about it on the album, is like they're super nerds about doing sex. And they're like not good at it.
Well, they need somebody to give them some instruction, maybe.
Well, I couldn't wait to ask Steve how he enjoyed this album, this EP, given his bias against songs about doing it.
It's not my favorite, but there are some great lines in some of these songs that just make me laugh. I think there might be, I'm kind of like Booker T on commentary where he'll say something's in my top 5 and then that top 5 is always rotating. So, but for sure, one of my top 5 favorite lines in any ICP song is in Super Balls. And, so there's a lot of things about it that makes me laugh. And I think coming off of the other songs that were meaner, this one was being nicer, silly about it too. You know what I mean? And so I that mixture of it makes it a lot more palatable for me. And then some of the music's just really great. It just hooks you. I mean, it's just
Music
they're
is really
good
good.
songs.
Yeah.
They're super solid. So it's kind of hard not to like them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
even if you don't listen to the lyric, like if the lyrics are bothering you, you can just kind of tune them out. you
Yeah.
know? And you can sing, even like kind of sing or hum along with the melodies and all that, because they're like really, they're singing in these songs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
This is where Legs Diamond was on the Riddle Box album, but I think this is where he really starts coming to the forefront, where it's like, oh, we got a guy singing the hooks and playing the guitar. So let's talk about Cotton Candy. Which, it tells a truth that I think that people don't ever really think about, but cotton candy doesn't get wet until it's in your mouth.
It stays
No
dry.
one ever
It's dry.
talks about that. Yeah.
Right. That's true,
It's
man.
like, you think about cotton candy being like sticky. Like, if you go to eat cotton candy, you're like, that's going to be sticky. It's going to get all over my hands. But not till it's wet.
And that's how it's in your mouth.
Also, Shaggy says that cotton candy wasn't made for the mouth.
Okay, so Shaggy's verse is Shaggy's wants to set the record straight. I think it harkens back to when we were talking about before on Fuck Off, when he said, "I'm not going to mix my rock with my rap." Like, he's still trying to keep a part of his core self of being like, no, we're not. We're doing this song that's going to be all about eating pussy and how great that is. But Shaggy's like, with my lyrics, I'm like, nah, I don't do it.
He doesn't like it.
Yeah, it's not for him.
I also like him
partly,
saying,
I think he gives an excuse because partly a lot of them are already rotten when he's getting there to them.
yeah, because how many corn dogs been to the cotton But I also want to say I love that Shaggy's euphemism, when every one of the world's euphemism for a dick has been a hot dog, his euphemism for a dick is
a corn dog. So I feel like, Bill, this really changes how I feel about Disneyland corn dogs. And what I'm saying is, I think I might be getting a corn dog patch for my vest.
Yeah, hell yeah. But I like him also saying, "I stick my wing in the cotton hole and then I'm out." Like, he doesn't talk about like having sex or like finishing or anything. Just like, whoop, I'm out.
Well, because he's like, he says it's rotten. Like, he's like acknowledging this is, I'm not willing to put my face anywhere near this person, but I'll stick my dick in real quick. Whoop. All right, no big deal.
So in Shaggy's verse, he says, okay, so he says the cotton hole, and then he talks about shave they cotton off. So I think in Shaggy's verse, he says the cotton is the pubic hair.
And the candy.
Ah, okay, got it.
Right.
Is that consistent throughout here, or
cotton candy?
Yeah.
I think that's what I've always understood, that it was two things.
Yeah.
Got it. Steve.
Sure.
Do you like the kids call Violent J Genie Pants?
Wait, but we missed that Shaggy was Shaggy Balls.
Oh, sorry.
And he also talked about how he likes to put his nuts in along with his member.
That's one of
because they're people too.
Steve has talked about.
Right.
Yes. Because they're people too. If they're long enough to hang out as short shorts, they are people.
And
that's just all I got to say.
And I don't know. I haven't heard too much about ladies really being turned on by seeing a guy's nuts hanging out at the bottom of his shorts. But see, maybe I'm playing it all wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't take that survey. What were you going to add?
What if it's one of those surveys where you get a coupon after you fill it out?
Well, one of the notes that I wrote, the note that I wrote for the next part of the song is Jay's verse, Jay's whole verse. So I feel like Jay really he really goes to a lot of different places in his verse.
But Jay's verse is pretty great because his and good for him because his balls made it to the Cotton Bowl, which I think is like maybe the first like sports reference at all in ICP music ever.
I think you might be right.
Also, is this the first reference to Rude Boy in a song? It's like for sure the first reference to Nate the Mac.
Man, I have gotta be honest, not keeping track of that stuff. I can't imagine this is the first time we heard about Rude Boy or Nate the Mac. No, that tagged ICP. Oh yeah, that's a Malenko. I don't know, man. Maybe. So what I understand, and Bill, you can probably confirm because I think they talk about this in the book, that Violent J says that when they are on tour, they go from town to town. They're not really into like going to the clubs. Like I think he tells a story of when they first got on Jive, that Jive took them out, or one of the artists on the label took them out to a club, and it was all glitzy and glamorous and whatever. And afterwards, they were like, "That was fun, but that's not us." And then he starts talking about how what they really like to do is go to like kind of scuzzy on the edge of town strip clubs.
Yeah.
And just go there.
They like strip clubs where it's not a good strip club.
Right. Where it's like a little bit grimy. And that's where they like to just hang out for the night after they've, performed or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess when they used to do this thing where if anybody recognized them, if any of the strippers recognized them and then started dancing to an ICP track, then they would they'd rain money on her. They'd all go up there and throw a bunch of money on her.
Yeah. And I also like the tracks that he listed as the ICP tracks, the 3 ICP tracks that like strippers always dance to.
Right. And I brought it up because isn't this one of them?
I think so. I know for sure one of them was Cherry Pie.
Right. Cherry Pie, he said, was like the one that they always did where it got to be like, shit, this one again. Because it was happening so much. But I feel like the beat in this has like a really dope, even though it's kind of a weird mood of a song because it's funny, but it's got a cool beat. Like I could definitely see that it's like funky, makes your head bob or whatever.
I imagine, especially during Violet J's verse, that Steve laughed a lot in this song.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
What were your highlights of this song here, Steve?
Well, definitely, I'll just go straight for my favorite was, well, I know it's a toss up because, but I definitely, I ate so much cotton that my tongue came out her butt.
Yes.
That's just amazing. And then I also loved I ate so much cotton that I got pink eye.
Yep.
It's so great. And then definitely like the California surfer make fun of thing at the end where let's go eat some pussy, dude.
Apparently, according to one person on Genius, that the end of Jay's the surfer dude thing is possibly a diss at Kid Rock and his cunnilingus based song "Yodelin' in the Valley." But there's like an electric guitar at that point, which apparently backs up the Kid Rock diss. But I don't know anything about Kid Rock other than the hilarious stories that Violent J told on his audiobook.
Well, let's say that kid was probably a juggalo, because who else is going to write that shit? So he's probably right.
Yeah, thanks to Your Lyrics Suck on Genius for this unreviewed annotation that has one downvote, and it was marked as a stretch by P 3 months ago. So big ups.
Thanks for keeping it real on the internet.
Steve, you did not respond to my question that Ryan cut off, so I have to ask it again.
Oh my gosh.
Do you like that the kiddies call Violent J Genie Pants?
I mean, it made me laugh. Why do you ask?
Well, specifically, Violent J explicitly states in this song that he can play the flute, but I don't think that that's true.
Was that him in the first track?
Probably. I don't know. Well, let's call Mike Clark.
Although, I mean, I always take reserve when someone's saying kids call them something when they're referring to their genitalia. So, I mean.
Also, I just realized that he tried to take his ding-a-ling and stick it in her butt.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where she says, "Cotton candy don't get wet until it's in your mouth."
That's I always.
But then his tongue came out her butt. Okay, all right, we're good.
Yeah, it's all connected down there.
Yeah.
But she's got a cloaca.
Yeah, just one hole. She's a bird. He fucked a chicken bird.
I mean, I'm not sure if I really want to tell this story, but like I had a friend who.
All right, do it.
Well, I guess she knew, so that doesn't mean the same thing. But anyways, my buddy was having sex with a girl, and then afterwards, they were like talking about whether it was good or not or whatever, whether they had fun. And then she was like, "You were fucking me in the ass, right?" And he didn't know. He had no idea.
Steve and I had a friend who used to have a lot of problems about accidentally continually going in the butt every time he would thrust. This problem mentioned with multiple partners.
I don't know. I'm suspicious.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know why it keeps happening.
It's really weird.
It sounds like he might need some lessons on how to be a better lover, which is exactly how this track closes out. Yeah, so it's a lady, and I think it's the same like wrapping up scene that from the intro of the song, which I think is like a saxophone lesson. Is that what it is? And then it turns into a pussy eating lesson. So the lady instructor is telling the student how to perform to her satisfaction.
So this is a tutorial album.
I think, at first I thought maybe they were just trying to do something edgy in between record contracts, but maybe it was something educational, doing something for the babies.
They're like, you know what? We've learned a lot while we were promoting Riddlebox.
That's a well-timed little cat meow there.
Yeah, he's a weirdo. All right, should we talk about Super Balls, or are there more points to be made about Cotton Candy?
I just wanted to say about Cotton Candy, I really actually like the chorus a lot. It's got a great hook, and I love the way he runs the Cotton Candy don't get wet till you put it in your mouth. Or whatever he's saying in that little spot. I love how fast he says it. And it was in my notes, and I wanted to point it out because.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's just, hey, Cotton Candy, hey, like that's all fun.
Cotton Candy,
it's all very fun.
In your mouth. Yeah, no, it's a well put together song. It's got a funny hook. It's got a funny premise. It's got a great hook. It's got a great beat. It's a really well made song.
And they usually tend to be at their best when it's like a raucous, like, hey, let's gang vocals, everybody like do like a beer hall chant almost,
Yeah.
Yeah. And when they play it live, it's like, people do it, it sounds great from the crowd.
And this next song also has a very big sing-along chorus, although maybe not quite as fun. But this next song is Super Balls. Which is playing in the background of at least one sex scene in the feature film Big Money Hustlers, the platinum film Big Money Hustlers. Starts or Cotton Candy ends with the sax lessons, as you prefer, if you will, and just talking about a superhero who comes from the faraway planet of Southwest Del Rey. The land of the smog-filled maniacs, super balls and concrete nutsacks. There's so what I'm led to believe is that Super Ball's superpower is that he'll fuck anything.
Yep, you got it right. You hit it right on the bullseye. First try.
He also has a super wang. I like that. ICP goes to amazing lengths at times to talk about the unattractiveness or otherness of people, and I think having a rubber eye is a good a good example of what ICP might come up with when given a few months to think of a strange thing that a person might have.
Right.
Or having a lumpy back. But both Shaggy 2 Dope and Violent J are Super Balls.
Yes.
I thought that was really interesting that they were both. Did
they share a secret? They share a superhero alter ego, like in the book Fortress of Solitude.
Excellent. So I'm totally into that concept. That sounds rad.
Yeah. Do you think they pass the super nutsack back and forth between?
Right. Is it
like
only one at a time?
It's to wear the concrete nutsack.
Right. Is it like that kind of thing, or is it like a Wonder Twins thing where they activate? Maybe they touch their wieners together, and then they're like, "Wow, the power of Super Balls!"
They touch their nuts together, and every time they like shape up Super Balls, it's the only thing they think of.
Right. And so then they fly around town and they have sex with all the other people, the people that wouldn't otherwise be able to get laid. I guess it's like a community service that they provide.
Yeah.
This song is featuring Legs Diamond, and as far as I know, it's the only ICP track in history to like feature Legs Diamond as Legs Diamond doing a verse as Legs Diamond.
That was the question that I was going to ask, whether you guys knew if Legs, because to me, just the whole presentation feels very much like a guest spot, which it obviously is, but it's surprising to me that, or I want to know whether he ever performs like this on any other future tracks.
I don't believe that there's an ICP track where this sort of thing happens again, but Legs Diamond and the Purple Gang did get their own album on Psychopathic a few years ago.
Okay, so that just seems kind of interesting to me because he does a lot of voice work for them, which is great. But this is like very strange. And I feel like, cause to me it's weird because I feel like it goes with the song as a guest, as a guest spot. But I can't see him as being ever like with this tone and this way he raps or whatever as being part of being part of something regularly, you know?
Well, if I had to guess, I would say that this is probably a function of when the album came out and the fact that it was strategically released in those 2 days where they weren't part of a label, where they're like, you know what, we're going to give fucking Legs, cause like, I'm sure neither Jive nor Hollywood was like, oh yeah, and what if you have Legs Diamond as a featured act on one of these tracks on the album? Like, it was probably a way to put him at the forefront and like make ICP fans aware of who this guy is, and if he pops up again, like, this is his name, this is what he's all about, this is what he sounds like, just sort of an educational sort of function.
If I understand correctly, famous first use of the term whoop whoop, origin of the term whoop whoop. And so so that kind of fits, like, if you're supporting your family, right? Like, Legs is part of the family, we want to make sure the Juggalos know he's part of the family, and now whoop whoop is like the thing that unites Juggalos. And so here's the song where they maybe did it the first time, put one of their artists, you know, somebody who's going to be one of their artists out in front for future, you know, benefit.
For sure. Outstanding. I didn't even, you know, I was having too much fun listening to the song to even like register that it is absolutely the first whoop whoop. And wow. What an integral part of ICP fandom that is.
Hell yeah, man. I feel like it's kind of the tone that I feel this song is kind of like it's got an older funky sound, like more like their older stuff. But the music, I don't know if it's an organ, but to me it sounds like the guitar from Superstition by Stevie Wonder.
Oh yeah.
And then there's a part in each verse where they sing, and both of those are my favorite parts. On Shaggy's verse, he says, tell me where the hose is at. Fat loopy bitches with the lumpy backs.
And Jay's verse?
It's just 'cause no one calls you home. Don't mean that you're all alone. Just call Super Balls to the rescue.
Oh yeah, right.
Now here's what I'm gonna do.
Right. And then that is like, okay, so that's actually my favorite line, is the line after the singing. When he says he'll stick his big toe in her butthole and then tickle your netting with my other toes. I feel like Jay comes in, the first verse is funny or whatever, But then Jay comes in and he's like, no, I'm gonna wreck this song. I'm gonna fuck this whole song up.
I want to know what line in here is one of Steve's top 5 lines.
I met a girl who looks a lot like a turkey.
just that line, or together with the other part of it?
I don't want to try to do the second part. That's enough.
So hilarious.
So good. But please tell me that you love the big toe in the butthole line as well.
I did, very much so. It's such a stupid song. I love it.
It almost like I was after seeing Big Money Hustlers, which I saw, before I was super familiar with the rest, like with a bunch of ICP stuff. Like Super Balls seemed like a song that was written for that movie,
Yeah.
Because it just fits so fucking perfectly with the dumb movie that these guys made. But no, it predates.
Did you watch Big Money Rustlers?
Yeah, I watched it at Ryan's house.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we bought that. Oh my gosh.
Steve, have you seen Big Money Rustlers?
Yeah, I saw it on Netflix of all things.
Hell yeah. I need to give it another shot because Ryan and I were pretty underwhelmed and disappointed by it.
I watched it alone, and like, had I been watching it with you guys, I probably would have laughed a lot because like all the jokes just would have been funny. Watching it all by myself, I was like amused and I was like giggling inside, but.
Well, I'm sure we'll talk about both of these movies on this podcast, but I do just want to say quickly that I love that Shaggy's character in Big Money Rustlers is named Sugar Wolf.
I did not remember that, and that's
I
great.
didn't either.
All right.
Just for the record, too, Legs Diamonds is also Super Bowl, so all three of them are sharing that idea.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I didn't even think of that. Thanks for pointing that out, Steve. Oh, and I wanted to say that when we were listening to this, Steve texted us and was like, "Who's this Legs? Legs Diamond sounds like Snoop Dogg on this track."
Yeah.
And so I think he does some interesting kind of voices, actually, and almost like they are impressions. And at some points, I think he really does sound a lot like he's doing a Snoop Dogg impression.
Yeah.
But I also thought that it was like, I thought he sounded like Brother Ali.
Yes.
The more jovial kind of Brother Ali, sound. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
I bet Legs Diamond can do pretty much anything that you want him to do.
I mean, he sounds like he's good at doing voices and shit, He's a great voice actor. That dude should, if he's not doing voice acting, he should be.
Well, isn't he?
I mean, I guess he's probably stoked with his life, I imagine he's doing well.
Yeah.
Shit, man. Let's move on to what I think is like definitely this. I mean, it's a very good song, man. This song fucking rules.
I love this song so much.
I had no idea.
Tell me about it, guys. A ninja. Motherfucking ninja.
I tell the whole class, nobody move a jiggle. First one to do, I'll make your fucking neck wiggle. Everyone would start jocking. The news would take my picture. Damn, I wish I could be a ninja. Damn, I wish I could be a ninja.
Right there. Ninja. I mean, there's a lot to me that I liked about it. But what I did like about it was like the bullying aspect. How, like, if he was a ninja, he's just like fantasize. I mean, how many people have fantasized about like being a superhero or a ninja or something to get back at the people that are picking on you? And that's why I love the song a lot.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know about Famous First, whether this is the first time they've ever referenced ninjas, but it's definitely the first time that ninja being like synonymous with like being a juggalo or ninja is something that's important to ICP, like enters the lexicon. I do want to say, like, I've always sort of thought it, but really listening to like the 23 hours of Violent J's audiobook, I can't shake the feeling that like, I mean, like, I have no doubt that they love news and that they love kung fu stuff, but it sort of has felt to me for a long time that they use the word ninja to refer to people specifically as a means of replacement for another N-word that they do not use.
Yes.
And I've only ever heard Violent J use that N-word one time, and it was on the audiobook, and it was in reference to him saying the title of a song. And it was so jarring to hear Violent J say that word, because I have never once heard him say that word. And then, like, him just continually saying ninja throughout, like, the book when talking about people, it just is very, like, clear, like, to me. Like, do you get that same impression, Ryan?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think it. I'm not trying to say that it was expressly created to be that. I feel like it fit in that mold, and it fit with. I think it was like one of those magic things about what these guys do, that it all kind of came together, like ninja. Because then, like, Snoop Dogg did try to do that with Eminem with nephew, right? And, like, does anybody say nephew, man? That's like. It's like a cool, I don't know. I thought when I first heard it, I was like, well, that's interesting, or whatever, nephew. Okay, cool. But ninja, yeah, that's great. Take ninja and do that. Absolutely. I have no problem with that at all. I don't know if I'm right or wrong about that, but if it's going to stop you from saying one word and saying something that has a completely different meaning that's not tied to anything historically, like, you know, shitty, then that's great. Say that. Say nephew. Say ninja. It's beautiful.
Cool. I like it.
But this song starts with an altercation where Shaggy, I actually don't remember. Do you guys remember the specific scenario where he gets shot?
Yeah, like he's like walking down the street.
He's just getting mugged or something?
Yeah, well, I mean, clearly he did something that pissed this guy off, because he asks him, hey, remember me? And he's like, uh-huh. And he's like,
right.
Remember what you said? He's like, uh-uh.
Nope.
And he's all, payback's a bitch. And then he starts shooting him.
Right. And he keeps shooting him and shooting him and shooting him. And by the way, these are definitely the same gunshots. I went back and listened to Toy Box when, at the very beginning, when the first toy, like, you know, malfunctions or whatever, it's the same exact gunshot sound. Like,
that is very cool. But I'm sorry I interrupted one of your points about ninja.
I was gonna say that after, so he's shooting him and shooting him and shooting him, and then but he won't die. And so Shaggy's character freaks out and runs away. And Jay's just laughing, and he says, "Wicked clowns never die."
Yes, famous first. That is the first time they say wicked clowns never die.
Right. And then that goes into ninja, where it's kind of like, all right, so maybe that's their superpower, is that they're just kind of like have that ninja swagger, a juggalo or whatever, and that's what they can do or whatever. That's their kind of superpower.
It's also cool to think about, like, ICP being into the ninja mythology and iconography, and, like, think about, like, the hand from, like, Daredevil, and it's like, you can kill as many of these dudes as you want, but, like, you're not going to make an impact. Like, they're just going to turn into smoke and then, like, come back and fuck you up, you know?
Right. Yeah, man. But it makes me think of, we were talking about Big Money Hustlers with the magic ninjas, what?
Yeah. Also, I don't know if you guys are aware, like, we touched on it briefly in an episode or two, but currently ICP and Twisted are on the outs with each other. But a couple years ago, Twisted started their own label, and it's called Magic Ninja Entertainment.
Right. Yeah, they're on the outs again? That's too bad.
Yeah. From what I gather, it has something to do with the FBI lawsuit. Because I saw some clips. I couldn't find the original video, because YouTube's great like that, where someone will just take a video and chop it up and, like, not reference, like, how to find the original video. But I saw some clips from a video where Paul and Jamie, or Paul, right? Paul?
That sounds right.
Monoxide?
Yeah.
Monoxide and Jamie are like...
I think you're right. It's Paulie.
Are talking about, like, you know, you do whatever you want to do as a juggalo, but, like, try and be aware when, like, someone's, like, using you for their mission. And, like, they were like, you know, if you're a juggalo who wants to march, like, by all means march. We would never tell you not to march, but, like, you know, at a certain point, be aware of, like, there's a band that's, like, using you to, like, say, you know, buy our albums, and, like, fuck the FBI because we want to, like, be a band and stay in business. So it seemed to have a lot to do with the FBI lawsuit, but it's a bummer, but, you know, whatever. I mean, Twisted and ICP have been on the outs before, and they've come back together, so Twisted seems like they're doing well with Magic Ninja Entertainment. They just put on their own comic book sci-fi convention called Astronomicon in Michigan, and that seemed to go well. So, hey,
Cool.
more power to everybody.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, but they currently have like Boondocks and Blaze signed to Magic Ninja, possibly ABK as well, but who knows? Yeah. Anyway, Ninja.
Well, so this is the only song that appears from this album on Who Sampled. So I got to find out that this song samples a song called Down by the River by Buddy Miles. And I never really know, there's big gaps in my field of vision when it comes to music. So I never really know if something's obscure or not. But when I searched for this song and the cover of the album came up, I was like, well, this seems like it's going to own. And that song I had not heard before, and it is very good. So I highly encourage people to go check that out. Down by the River by Buddy Miles. He looks like, he's like a pretty badass looking dude, sitting behind a cool
song
American.
or like a funk song or?
It's like a blues song. Like a funk song. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of both.
All right.
Yeah, it's like a funk song. But he's sitting behind a really cool like American flag drum set.
Nice.
And but what the music made me think of, and the kind of the tone of the song, because like I said before, I felt a little bit kind of nostalgic to me in tone, is a mod Back in the Day, which came out a couple of years before this. I think it came out in 1994. But that's a fun song too if you guys like a cool like summer jam, mid 90s rap jam. A mod Back in the Day. It's a great track.
Well, I mean, obviously to me, it's the most evocative of "Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangsta." Like, obviously, like that's what they're going for here.
Right, for sure.
It's fun that it's just fun, man. And like the way like Violent J screams "Wicked Clowns Will Never Die," like it's such a good tone to set for the rest of this song.
And it ends like kind of on a positive note, because even though he's being like nostalgic and wishing that he could have intervened or done something different these younger points in his life, the last verses he's like, got to work a regular jobs, being a normal guy, and he can be like, "Fuck you, man! Like I can handle myself. I can take care of myself. I don't need to be a ninja to like be cool."
Yeah. Also, another famous first, just to me, this is the first time they refer to working at a fast food place as flipping fries. I flip French fries with two fries. Because when the first time I remember hearing that was in Homies, like dishwashing or fucking flipping fries. Like the idea to me is so hilarious of like ICP being such scrubs that like they can't even flip burgers. They have to flip fries.
Hell yeah, man. That's really cool. Because I remember you telling me about that, and I gotta assume that that's a reference to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Probably. I mean, or just Joe and Joey have always referred to working at a fast food restaurant as flipping fries, which I think is equally as likely.
It could be that.
Steve, I want you to know that when you listen to the audiobook, Shaggy Two Dope has 2 chapters where he teaches you how to steal shit.
That is some of my favorite shit on that whole thing, man. Shaggy's
so good.
Yeah.
Can I buy it
criminal
on
lessons?
iTunes?
Probably.
I mean, I can give you my
that what-
login. Just listen.
Yeah, just do that. Just give it out here on Dim Carnival. And...
Yeah, I'll say it right here.
Yeah. Steve, I'm sorry. Talk about Ninja.
Well, I mean, in the serious tone, it still has great imagery in it that's funny, and like he can be talking about something serious, like defending his mom, but still make it funny by making his dad put broken glass up his ass and then squeezing it shut and squeeze his butt cheeks together and then throws a ninja star and sticks him in his ass crack, and then they even have the
It's a good scream. The dad scream's good.
Yeah. And so I like that they're able to still say some funny stuff even though it's not a funny song. And it starts off funny too. And so that's what I like about it. It's just like they could just do this really good this crossover of being still like clowns even when they're talking about something serious, but it doesn't take away from the seriousness of it still.
Right, it makes it kind of heartfelt to me. It makes it seem more like genuine.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the reason now that you're saying that, I feel like that's part of the reason why I really like this song.
Yeah.
Cuz it's funny and it's good.
It's something that, stems from their childhood of like, you know, we're like poor and we suck and life sucks and where we live sucks and everything around us sucks. But like, we find these ways to escape reality and we find these ways to have fun and like not want to kill ourselves all the time and like make ourselves laugh and find magic everywhere. And that's such a core component of what makes them them. Cause there's like, at this point, there's like a fucking lot of horrorcore rap groups and none of them have the charisma or the entertainment value that ICP has. And I think that that's just because like they've worked so hard their whole life to be like, let's imagine ourselves in some place that isn't here and try and have fun and be cool and be good people while still like working through all the shit we have to work through.
I haven't really listened to a lot of horrorcore rap. I mean, you know, obviously the most I've heard has been any group that's normally associated with Psychopathic Records.
Mm-hmm.
I did listen to Necro, which Ryan, you showed me when we were living in the city.
Yeah.
Shout out to Necro on Instagram.
Yeah, what up, Necro?
And that stuff's not funny. It's brutal. I mean, it's good. Some Necro songs are really difficult to listen to, but man, he's just good. But ICP being funny is what draws me to it. If it didn't have that aspect to it, it just, you know, obviously they couldn't not be funny because they're clowns, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm not usually too interested in it because it's just too brutal. It's hard to listen to a lot.
And it feels like every time ICP has a song that's like completely serious, like, well, I mean, I don't think there's any ICP song that's like 100% serious, but like anytime they have a song that's like almost entirely serious, it's usually either celebratory or triumphant. Like I think like maybe we'll get some when we get to Hell's Pit, but like if they have a song that's like 100% or as close to 100% as ICP gets to like being not funny, it's usually a song that's like, we fucking did it, or it's a song where like everything's going to be okay.
The Mom song's not very funny.
But it's about loving your mom.
But his mom, I know. Yeah, I was going to say that follows your point. It's celebrating mom. Yeah.
and Rude Boy's pipes. Like, you know, like the last track on Jekyll Brothers, like, it's like, I think Steve and I sort of view that song as like a triumphant song.
Is that Nothing's Left?
Yeah. Cause it's sort of a bleak song, but it's uplifting in a way.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Especially coming out of Echo Side. It comes right out of Echo Side, right?
Yeah.
I can't wait till we talk about that, man, because I had some real serious thoughts about ICP at that time.
I'm really excited about Jekyll Brothers.
I actually listened to that track recently because I was thinking about, you know, my ICP experience. That song's kind of tied to it, so I think.
Nice. Yeah, that's a big part of me and Steve's life as well. Song. But we're not talking about that song. We just finished talking about Ninja. Damn, it feels good to talk about ICP with you guys.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Outstanding. Well, thanks to everybody for listening. If you're still listening, give us a review over on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to your podcasts. Rate, review, subscribe, 5 stars. We make 5 stars. And, hey, my cat is really losing his fucking mind over. You can follow us, Vroom. You can follow us on, Twitter and Instagram at Dim Carnival. You can check us out, at Podbean, Dim Carnival. You can, send us an email, dimcarnival@gmail.com. And, thanks again for listening to everybody. And, next week we're going to talk about the second 4 tracks off Tunnel of Love. We're going to be talking about Stomp, Prom Queen, My Kind of Bitch, and When I Get Out, which is also another song. So, but not really a song. So, we'll talk about those 4 tracks next week. And then, we're getting real close to talking about Great Malenko, guys. And, Great Malenko is such a big album that's so important to people who aren't even fans of ICP that we might be changing up the format a little bit when we get there, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And we're talking about the next half of Tunnel of Love next week. So until next week, I'm Bill.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Ryan.
And the Wicked Clowns will never die.
True.
Just gonna hang on while my cat jumps all over my laptop. It's cool. Get out of here.
You don't need it.